Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Samra, otherwise known as Geeky Camera, and in this video I'm going to be telling you how I take notes in school. A lot of my friends have told me that I actually take really good notes, and to me that's kind of shocking because, you don't really realize when you're doing something well and then other people tell you and you're like, what, really? Let's get into how I take my notes. So the very first thing I recommend you guys do is take notes in class when your teacher is giving them to you. If your teacher doesn't give notes in class, try taking them off your textbook or any other work documents you find, because these notes in class can be really helpful for you to make better notes out of later. So here I have my biology notebook. In this I would write all my notes during class and they'd be pretty messy and just all together. This is how I personally did it, and I made messy notes during class, and then afterwards I would go back and make separate notes for all my tests and things like that. But if you're more of a neat person, then this might be different for you. Whatever is working for you, then you go for that. But I really do recommend that the first step to getting better notes and revision is to make sure that you take notes during class and take time out of your day to really focus on the subjects that you're studying, because that can really help you in the future. So these notes I also do use for studying for upcoming tests and things. So these are really helpful to keep around because I also base my better notes off of these as well. The second thing I recommend doing is going through review papers that your teachers give you. My biology teacher, for our finals, she gave us a bunch of review sheets, and I use these to make all together notes for my finals, and I'll get into later how I made those revision notes because those are actually really good notes. But you want to basically use your study guides and everything that can really help you and go through them and make notes on them, because if your teacher gives you study guides, that means that they're showing you stuff that'll be on your future tests, so make sure you really study up for these. Another thing I wanted to mention is that if your teacher doesn't give you study guides or final review exam prints or anything, then make sure you go through your textbook every single unit that you go through and write down notes. I like to go through definitions that are usually written in bold print on the sides of our textbooks, or I like to just read through every single unit in the textbook and then take notes based on those, and that's something that's really been helpful for me. I also use fancy little pens to study with, and those notes are usually brighter and more colorful and easier to read because I actually put a lot of work into them and make sure that they're neat so that I can go back to them and study. And if I know that I put my hard work into taking notes, then I know that I'll go back to them and actually learn from them again. The pens that I mainly use are from the dollar store. They're really affordable. Any sort of easy pens to work with, or pencils even if you enjoy writing with those. Another thing I wanted to mention was before I go and take my really fancy notes, I try to write down all the memorization stuff that with numbers and everything else on a piece of paper, a piece of scrap paper basically. This is what I did here, and this paper is basically just used for writing all that stuff down so that I know everything on here is right, and even if it's messy I can go and change it up on my revision notes, just like with my notebook that I use to write notes during class. For my revision notes that I like to write after class, I usually use pieces of fine line paper or college ruled paper, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, these papers are really helpful and they're really easy to just staple together once I have each unit separately. One thing I did for all of my subjects this last semester was every single unit when we had a test, I would take notes for that test using all the techniques that I said here, and that helped me significantly in getting better grades because I knew the stuff I was studying and I made sure that I studied the stuff that my teacher told me to. So I do recommend these papers for taking notes. You can also use notebooks or really whatever paper works for you. So here's an example of one of my study notes that I use for tests. This is for my biology class and it's photosynthesis, and I made it like a significant rule in my life. Every single time we had a test, I would put time and effort into writing out these notes, and it really did help me throughout the years. So if you guys are interested in learning how to take better notes, please make sure to try these out because I can assure you that they are really helpful. If you make colorful notes that stand out to you and pop out to your eyes, it'll make you want to learn more. It won't make you feel bored or not interested in learning. That's something that I noticed personally with me. I need colors to keep me energized and I guess happy, because when you're learning it can be really boring at times. So if you do things in a way that helps you learn best, that's really good. You guys can draw out diagrams and anything that'll really help you. If you need to write little keys on the side of your pages, then make sure you do that because it'll be helpful for you again. Very last thing I recommend you guys do is keep all of your fancy notes in a folder throughout the year so that you don't lose them, or just make sure you keep them in a safe place. I usually just keep mine in this folder here This is all of my papers from throughout this last semester for my biology class, and all of my fancy notes are in here, all of my notes that I use to write before every single test or unit test, and they were also really helpful for my finals at the end of the year, which I ended up using those again for. So make sure you keep them all safe in one place so that you know where they are, and if any of your friends need to borrow the notes or anything, you can lend them to them very carefully. That's all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to let me know if you want to see any more videos similar to this.
Wild spirits,